Candy Crush on your phone, League of Legends on your computer with friends, The Legend of Zelda from your couch, or maybe even classic arcade games for those who remembered the golden age of gaming, chances are you've played a video game at least once in your life. And maybe you still do, maybe even right now while you're watching this video. Video games is a passion shared by over 1 billion people around the world, most of whom only play for a few hours a day. But today, we're taking things to the extreme. Hey, Gustav, just the guy I needed. I've got a brand new challenge for you. You don't have any plans this week, right? Perfect. So tell me, do you like video games? Would you be up for like a really long gaming session? Let's say something like, I don't know, 6 days of non-stop gaming? Don't worry, I'll let you pick the console you want to use and the games you want to play. Okay, our test subject looks more than ready for the challenge, but trust me, the excitement won't last long. Because spending that much time in front of a screen without proper breaks is dangerous. Will he pass out? Will he lose his mind from the unbearable exhaustion? Could he even die from this experiment? Let's find out together as we answer today's big question. Playing video games for 144 hours straight, what's it really like? Before we kick things off, let's brief our little Gustav. He has to stay glued to the game and keep playing, no long breaks allowed. If you're on Twitch a lot, you know that in recent years, plenty of streamers have taken on insane marathons, lasting dozens of hours. So let's rewind a bit and talk about the streamer Giant Waffle. Back in 2019, he played live on Twitch for over 572 hours. And of course, he also switched between different games during his stream. Gotta keep things interesting. Just to clarify though, his stream wasn't 572 hours straight with no breaks. Giant Waffle's schedule was 19 hours of gaming per day with only 3 to 5 hours of sleep each night. And here's the crazy part. He started training his body 7 months in advance just to adapt his sleep schedule for this challenge. Unlike Giant Waffle, Gustav has zero preparation and won't be allowed as much rest, but will still subject him to the same conditions as players trying to break world gaming records. For that, we're following the strict rules of the Guinness World Records. To make a Guinness World Records attempt official, participants can't take their eyes off the screen or they'll be disqualified. But they are free to eat, drink, and change positions as much as they want. Energy drinks, coffee, and whatever food they want are all on the table, no limits. Another important rule, every hour participants are allowed a 10-minute break. Most of the time, those 10 minutes are spent on a quick bathroom break, a lightning-fast shower, or a power nap. Yep, that's right, Gustav. You can save up those breaks and take them all at once if you want. You could stay at your computer, for example, for 6 hours straight, then take a 1-hour break. But don't worry, Gustav, I think you've been through worse. All right then, now that we've set the game rules, it's time to get started for real. Let's check in after Gustav's first hour of gaming, because he has now exceeded the average amount of time French players spend gaming each day. And I'm using France as an example here because, well, you know, that's where Gustav is from, of course. For reference, this 1 hour a day of gaming is about 30 minutes less than the time people spend on social media each day. And this gaming time average includes all platforms: computers, home consoles, handheld consoles, and most importantly, phones. Because yes, the way we play games has changed dramatically over time, and today, smartphones are by far the most popular device for gaming. The rise of mobile games has been nothing short of explosive. Back in 2012, mobile games made up barely 20% of the video game industry's total revenue, whereas today, that number has skyrocketed to over 50%. But don't worry, computer and console gamers, you've still got plenty of good years ahead of you. Right, Gustav? Alright, well, he's clearly not paying attention to us, so I guess we'll just leave him to it. Time for another update after 7 hours of gaming, which in many countries is actually the weekly average time spent on video games. Though I'm sure some of you out there easily hit 7 hours of gaming in a single day. Your parents or grandparents might give you the classic line, "Oh, you kids, back in my day, we spent all our time playing outside." But honestly, they're not exactly ones to talk. Take time watching television, for example. People over 50 break all the records there. They spend an average of 5 hours a day in front of a television screen, adding up to 35 hours a week. Anyway, let's get back to Gustav. After 7 hours of gaming, he's starting to feel a little tired. Constant glare of the screen is starting to wear on him, giving him a slight headache from the eye strain. On top of that, he has to stay laser focused on the screen. Oh, looks like he's decided to take a quick break. So Gustav, how's it going for you? He seems to have some back pain, which makes sense after sitting on the couch for so many hours without moving. Blood circulation slows down and the muscles start to go numb, but luckily he can get up and stretch a bit. Alright, let's let Gustav finish his break and check back in on him a little later. Let's fast forward and see how things are going after a full day, aka 24 hours of gaming. Not being used to such long gaming sessions, Gustav is starting to have some serious eye strain. He's also having stronger headaches than before, and apart from that, he seems to be holding up pretty well. That said, some seasoned players can handle these marathons with ease. People like Kari Swidecki, Kasanat, or Ludwig, just to name a few. So for now, aside from the growing fatigue, nothing particularly surprising is happening with Gustav, but trust me, it won't stay that way for long. Alright, things are getting serious now. Gustav has now been gaming for over 2 days straight. And yeah, it's starting to get rough for him. Actually, famously, a gamer from Finland once played for exactly this amount of time in a challenge. It was during the release of Halo 5 back in 2015. He pulled off a marathon through the entire saga, playing for exactly 50 hours, 4 minutes, and 17 seconds. His record was even officially recognized by the Guinness World Records at the time. That said, as impressive as it sounds, he doesn't hold the current record for time gaming non-stop. Well, meanwhile, Gustav is starting to hit a wall. This kind of marathon, on top of staying focused, he now has to fight just to stay awake. Energy drinks, coffee, and carefully chosen snacks are keeping him going for now. But after sticking to his regular hourly 10-minute breaks, Gustav has now decided to switch strategies. He's now going to save up his break time so he can take longer naps. Still, the hardest part is yet to come. We're checking in again at a very specific milestone, 67 hours and 30 minutes, because that's the duration of another gaming record, this time on an arcade machine. You could call this one a vintage record. This record dates all the way back to 1985 and was set by an 18-year-old named James Volant. Several players were competing for the record. Each participant chose an arcade machine with their game of choice. We're talking about titles like Centipede, Asteroids, and Pac-Man, of course. As for our record holder, James, he was playing a game called Joust, which looks like this. And to keep things fair, a team of judges was present to make sure no one cheated. The judges kept a close eye on the players to make sure no one was pretending to play while their character just sat idle in the corner of the screen. James Volant ended up playing for 67 hours and 30 minutes straight. But to be precise, during that time, he took a total of 80 minutes of breaks, split up into 20-minute sessions. By the end, our record holder was literally falling asleep on the arcade machine. Fun fact, during the record gaming session, he didn't even manage to break the high score record of the game. He was probably just too tired. But to this day, he still holds the record for the longest arcade gaming session ever. Hang in there, Gustav, you're almost halfway there. Time for another check-in with Gustav after 3 full days of gaming. How you holding up, big guy? Oh, you want to take a break? Go ahead. How many breaks have you saved up? Alright, you got 50 minutes away from the screen. Some of you might think this challenge sounds too easy with all these breaks, but trust me, trying to do this challenge without the breaks would be a terrible idea. A few years back, something tragic happened in a Taiwanese internet cafe. A gamer who was a regular at the place came to play. It wasn't unusual for him to stay there for hours, sometimes even falling asleep in front of the screen. Then one day, after 72 hours of gaming, when he looked like he just dozed off, the employees suddenly realized, to their horror, that the man was dead. a similar story happened to a gamer in Korea, except he died after 50 hours of playing. The cause of death in both cases? Cardiac arrest caused by extreme fatigue. So even though 72 hours is an impressive milestone, our guinea pig is still far from breaking the record for the longest gaming marathon. That's why following the right safety rules is so important for players trying to break a Guinness World Record. So Gustav, was the nap any good? Ready to get back at it? Perfect, then let's go. 135 hours have passed. That's a little over 5.5 days of our guinea pig glued to his controller. Hiya, holding up, Gustav. No surprise here, his hands are cramping up from holding the controller for so long. You'd think 5.5 days would already be an inhuman achievement, but nope. In fact, 5.5 days was once the world record for a gaming marathon. It was set in 2012 by an Australian named Okan Kaya, and this guy came fully prepared. Just like Gustav, he waited to take his breaks to be able to take longer power naps. While playing, he even had a step machine to keep moving and stimulate his blood circulation. On top of that, his own boss, who supported him in this challenge, handled all the logistics. His boss even provided him with a conference room just for the occasion. His boss even prepared balanced meals to keep Okan going throughout the record attempt. Wondering what game he was playing for that long? Call of Duty Black Ops 2. According to Okan, the hardest part was dealing with the intense hand cramps. By the end of the record, his eyes were bloodshot and his hands were in terrible shape from all the cramping. But a few years later, our dear Okan was dethroned by none other than Carrie Swidecki, and she went big, really big, setting her record on Just Dance 2015. So yeah, with all the movement, she definitely didn't have any blood circulation issues. According to the Guinness World Records, her time was 138 hours and 34 seconds, so just a few hours longer than Okan. As for Gustav, he's determined to go even further. Alright, we made it. 144 hours, 6 full days of gaming. So Gustav, you made it. How you feeling? Sleep deprivation is taking its toll, and he's starting to hallucinate, both visual and auditory hallucinations. It's only a matter of time before he completely gives out. Is he dead? Not yet, but at this point, it wouldn't take much. Despite the breaks and naps, exhaustion has finally taken over and he's passed out. At this point, he's at risk of either cardiac arrest or even a pulmonary embolism, which makes sense. He's too exhausted to even get up from the couch, and that massively increases the risk of a blood clot forming and blocking his pulmonary circulation. In short, our guinea pig could use a little magic wand to bring him back to life. So Gustav, you up for another marathon gaming session? Yeah, no worries, you've definitely earned a much longer break. Personally, I've had my fair share of long Minecraft gaming sessions, but nothing even close to these levels of madness. If you've ever tried to break a record like this, or if you're a passionate gamer who spent countless hours on your favorite games, share your stories in the comments. We want to hear about your funniest, wildest, and most amazing gaming experiences. Till next time!